let's look at the Discord one, because they caught my interest, because like I really do like Discord. I'd even go as far as saying I love Discord. It's like one of my favorite apps. So let's see why Discord is the most evil business in the world.
How does Discord make money? Discord is a free-to-use communication app. And in just 6 years, Discord went from being nothing to being worth over $7 billion, making it more valuable than Skype, Hinge, Pinterest, Tumblr, and so many more. And unlike every other social media giant, Discord doesn't even have ads, it doesn't sell your data, and it's free to use. And yet Discord is one of the highest valued social media companies in the world, with Microsoft attempting to buy Discord for $12 billion. But even this number wasn't enough for the Discord founders. They understood that Discord will be worth many more billions in the near future. Something doesn't make sense here. How is this possible? How can Discord be worth so much money? Well, there's a few explanations. One is that Discord has been rapidly expanding. In just 6 years, Discord has accrued over 350 million users. This sort of growth...
I mean, Discord is the most convenient chat service that has existed for a long time. Like, it combined the convenience of IRC, ICQ, and TeamSpeak into one app. And because a lot of people have never even experienced ICQ, they don't even know what they've been missing out. It's like all that in just one app. And I'll make a prediction here. So obviously Discord gains some money through the premium subscribers, like the Nitro and all that stuff. The server boosts and other things. Like, they make some money through that, but it's likely not enough to get them to the level where they are. So I'll make the assumption that they're probably selling data.
Is extremely rare, and it's put Discord in a crazy position, giving Discord leverage over everyone. And not just its users, I'm talking about everyone. This became very clear on the 6th of January 2021. It was 8:17 in the morning, and in just 5.5 hours, the world would change forever. The Stop the Steal movement protested the results of the 2020 presidential election, and things would obviously be taken a little too far. 5 lives would be taken, 761 would be
That makes it really annoying, but what do you mean? What kind of functions do you find annoying?
Charged, and dozens would be imprisoned. Hatred was everywhere. America was more divided than ever. The US seemed to be on the brink of a civil war, of a revolution, and while many things were behind this, social media was one of the main catalysts. And in the following months, it was revealed that the main social media app behind this
Good morning, Spawn. How are you?
was Discord. It was this revelation that was one of the first major clues as to how Discord makes its money. And whilst it wasn't directly responsible for this attack, this event did uncover the true power of Discord. And it turned out that this was just the tip of the iceberg. You see, when I tried to work out how Discord really makes its...
I'm good as well. I'm kind of curious where this goes. Are we blaming a chat app for people chatting now? Is that the same shit that they've been doing with Telegram? Like, they said, like, Telegram is bad because people, like, sell drugs, weapons, and have, like, vaccine talks about it. But it's, like, that's kind of not the fault of the app, is it? So, let's see where this is going.
Money. I quickly realized how deep this rabbit hole goes. To understand this whole picture, we need to go back in time. The year was 2008, and a nerdy gamer called Jason Citron wanted to make his mark on the world, where he would go on to found a company called OpenFaint. The idea was simple. OpenFaint would be a social media site directly designed for integration with mobile games. And this idea at the time was kind of genius. OpenFaint would integrate itself within the social structure of games, combining chat room software, leaderboards, and achievements into one unified whole. Notable games that utilize OpenFaint were Fruit Ninja, Jet...
The persistent ad stuff, the auto-loading links, the possibility to service to push messages even when it's muted, just to name a few. I mean, but that's all user error. Like, you literally need like 2 more clicks to stop that. Like, I'm gonna show you real quick. Do like right-click here, notification settings. First, only ad mentions, and then you can do suppress at everyone and suppress at role mentions, no more. Done. 2 clicks. It's just like it's just that. You can also disable the mobile push notifications. You can like do all that. And I'm pretty sure there's also a thing to prevent auto-loading of links.
Joyride and Tiny Wings. And in 2011, OpenFaint would be sold to a Japanese company called Gree for the price of $104 million. And at the age of 26, Jason Citron was now a multi-millionaire. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Just before OpenFaint's closure, disaster would strike Jason. A class action lawsuit had just been filed, with OpenFaint being accused of mishandling user data, illicitly storing and selling this personal information, and for allegedly, quote, accessing, monitoring and storing the unique device identifiers for mobile devices, along with personally identifiable information, such as users' exact GPS location, internet browsing history, and Facebook and Twitter profiles. All of this without the notice or consent of the user whose private information was being sold. In fact, OpenFaint's entire business model relied on the unauthorized access to personal data to pass on to buyers for profit. We're talking about everything: your age, gender, location, contacts, games, activity. But all of this wasn't a secret. OpenFaint's employees knew this, OpenFaint's shareholders knew this, and of course Jason was behind all of this. And yet all of them put their moral reservations to the side. But very luckily for Jason, the case was dropped, with no reason given. And so Jason was now a multi-millionaire, free 26-year-old. He could do anything, but he still wanted to make his mark on the world. He wanted to influence society. He wanted to create something groundbreaking, something revolutionary. And so in 2015, he formed a new company called Discord, where he would bring back not only the idea of an online communication service centered around the gaming industry, but also some of the shady business practices that define OpenFaint. However, the app's early months were rough to say the least. Discord's voice functionality was a total disaster. Call connections between users were precarious at best, and the quality of calls was even more erratic. Yet Jason and his team were obsessed with the app. With this obsession, the team continued to improve. New management was introduced, calls became stable, and people began to take notice of Discord. And while the user base was initially small, Twitch streamers and Redditors quickly began spreading the good news of the app. Features like its user-friendliness, its utility of combining servers with voice chat features of Skype, and its apparent security made Discord a very popular choice for internet users. And by the end of 2015, Discord now had 3 million users. And then by the
I was like one of the first adopters of that, because I always disliked the fact that TeamSpeak has no real community features. It has like great voice transmission and all that, but it has no community features. And also you need to pay for your servers, which is kind of awkward. Persistent messages also feel weird to me if it makes a tool I want to use for VoIP and chat into a social media, but not a good one. I mean, what do you mean persist? I don't know, man. I don't think that's an issue. It's literally just a chat room. Like, I mean, you used IRC, it's the same shit.
At the same time next year, Discord would go on to have 25 million users. And so as you'd expect, investors caught onto this and wanted a piece of the pie themselves. Now, investors weren't really after Discord because of its revenue figures, because Discord has never really monetized its vast user base. On the surface, Discord only makes its money through a subscription model, Nitro. Initially, Discord Nitro could be purchased for $4.99 a month, and gave its subscribers access to various customizations or upgrades such as sticker packs, high quality video sharing, and custom emojis. In 2018, Discord added new features such as server boosting and larger file uploads. And that's all well and good, until you do the math. In July of 2020, Discord purportedly generated $120 million from subscriptions. But then, how is Discord a multi-billion-dollar company if it's only generating $120 million from subscriptions? I mean, the company hasn't even had a year of profit since its founding. So are subscriptions really the key behind Discord's billion-dollar empire?
That's unlikely.
Instead, Discord's business model is by getting investments. You see, Discord has been slowly growing in the shadows, and is now set to take over the instant messaging industry. Through constant upgrades, Discord now has unrivaled value. Low latency, easy communication, great servers, no ads, no data selling, and no fee makes Discord perfect, giving millions immense value for free. And by providing better value than other messaging apps, Discord's growth is now unstoppable. With 150 million active monthly users, Discord now has 3 times Reddit's active user base, and could soon have over 500 million active users in just a couple of years. By growing its user base, Discord has grown its investments, and by inflating its value, Discord is patiently waiting for the opportunity to sell. You see, these big tech companies like Discord have a very strange business model, where they become worth billions of dollars while being unprofitable and lacking any long-term plan to make money. All that matters to these companies is the scale of their user base. And so it's not hard to see why—
I mean, obviously. Like, this has not been a new thing. This has also not been a social media thing. Like, people have done that for whenever since the internet was around. Like, before it was like social media, there was like online stores that did that. And they still do. Like, there's even a German company that has been like infamous for doing that. Called, I think it was Rocket Internet. Basically what they do is they take like concepts of American homepages, bring them into Germany, and like make them gain a lot of traction by just having like a good user interface. Take over the entire market, and the moment they have the market, they sell it to someone else, and it usually crashes and burns.
Why so many companies wanted a piece of Discord. In fact, this is why Discord has been doubling down on expanding its audience and providing as much value as possible. By investing in making the app the best it can possibly be, this then brings in more users, which then brings in more investors. More investors means more investing into the app, which means more users and repeat. By continuing this cycle over several years, Discord is set to become a $1 billion juggernaut. But this cycle can't go on forever. At a certain point, Discord needs to make a profit. Unless of course they sell the company, which is the final step in the Silicon Valley business model, where you artificially pump up your value and then sell your company to a big tech giant. And this is exactly what happened to Discord. In 2021, this Silicon Valley dream fell into Jason's lap, with Microsoft offering $12 billion for the company. Jason's vision had come to life. This was the opportunity he'd worked so hard to create. But strangely, he actually turned down this offer. Why? Well, in 2020 alone, Discord had generated $500 million from investors. Current investors seeding this round include Benchmark, Greylock Partners, Index Ventures, and Spark Capital, the same parent company behind Snapchat. Everyone was in on Discord. And this is one of the ways Discord can make so much money, by selling parts of their company and the access to data that comes with it. And this is quite sinister on its own, but the one name that stands out from the rest of these investment firms and makes the problem so much worse is Tencent. Now, it's important I give some backstory on Tencent. In January 2021, Tencent was valued at almost $1 trillion. They are a modern titan, and Tencent, like any other large company in China, is effectively a commercial branch of the CCP. But how did they come to hold such a position of power over the world's economy? Tencent is just an extension of the CCP. It is a communist company, and back in the day, they were a government mobile provider. They quickly expanded into video games and direct messaging, and in recent years, they're taking over the world, owning majority equity in Riot Games, investing in Reddit, and founding one of the biggest social networks, WeChat, which has over 1 billion users worldwide. But it's important to note that they only have this control because the CCP allows them. And the CCP only allows them to have this power as Tencent has to follow the Chinese government's orders. And that's why if you're registered to a Chinese mainland phone number, then Tencent will actively censor and track the messages that you send. Tencent also tracks users' locations, and even more terrifyingly, the messages they send through basic text messaging. And Tencent's control doesn't just stay within the Chinese borders. In the 2019 Hong Kong elections, Tencent suppressed all information on WeChat regarding the elections and even banned people who lived in the US and Canada for discussing the elections. These are just the companies that are subsidiaries of Tencent, but Tencent has far more control than this.
Thing is, if we stop boycotting Tencent, we'll have a big issue soon because, like, well, they own a lot of shit. Right? They own a shit, like a large amount of shit. They own like insane amounts of shit. So this all sounds like it would be smart to make a better, less shady Discord replace it once it falls. Yes, in general, yes, I would say. But you need like a lot of budget to do so, right?
Tencent is the CCP social media giant, and if there's anything scarier than big tech oligarchs, it's CCP big tech oligarchs. To expand China's cultural influence, Tencent has been buying up stakes in some of America's biggest tech giants, most notably buying a 38% share in Discord, which is very problematic when you take a look at recent Chinese politics, like the CCP's new national intelligence law, a law that makes all citizens and companies legally obliged to help the government gather foreign intelligence on the data of billions around the world, all while keeping any cooperation with the government a secret. And so when you understand that Tencent is just a subsidiary of the Chinese government, it's not hard to imagine why Tencent has suddenly bought shares in over 600 companies, at exactly the same time that the Chinese law required its companies to share user data with Beijing. And all while this was happening in China, Discord was just starting to blow up. That's why Tencent was so quick to buy up 38% of Discord. So Tencent, a malicious, hostile, communist-run company, now has the majority control of Discord. This is very, very concerning. And combined with Jason's dodgy password data, this starts to pose some serious questions about Discord itself, and especially about how Discord makes money. You see, Discord has a habit of saying that Discord would never sell your data, that Discord is private and that you're always protected. But this couldn't be any further from the truth. Discord always talks about its privacy policy with quotes such as, "We make money from paid subscriptions and the sale of digital and sometimes physical goods, not from selling your personal information to third parties," end quotes. But Discord isn't being completely forthcoming. You only need to scroll down a little bit to see what they're really doing with your data. Quote, "We may share information with vendors we hired to carry out specific work for us. We may also share limited information with advertising platforms to help us reach people that we think will like our products and to measure the performance of our ads shown on those platforms. We do this to help bring more users to Discord and provide the only platform required to facilitate these services. This may include information like the fact that you installed our app or registered to use Discord." Adding that, quote, "We may share information with our related companies, including parents, affiliates, subsidiaries, and other companies under common control and ownership." So taking this into consideration, it's becoming apparent who Discord really provides value to. And so it might not be a coincidence that Discord happens to be very bad with your personal information. For example, right now you might start to feel weird about having Discord and decide to delete it. But when you try to delete the app, you'll realize your account was never deleted. You were just under the illusion that it was. For 2 weeks, you'll ostensibly have a choice whether to permanently ban your account or not, and after the 2 weeks, the account will seemingly be deleted, where all your data will be wiped from its servers. Except that's not the case with Discord. Instead, all of your data is stored within Discord servers, even when you've deleted your account, always storing this very useful data. And so, where is this data going? Well, obviously it's impossible to pinpoint exactly, but when you understand that Tencent...
Thing is, like, there's no way someone actually searches through all this, right? So what does that mean for you personally? What's the effect on you personally doing this?
Discord's major shareholder, who by law must send all data back to the Chinese government, starts to raise some questions, which is honestly terrifying considering how much data Discord is accruing. As Discord scales by hundreds of millions a year, so does its control of the global population's data. Because Discord tracks every click and every word you type, your age, your gender, your location, your contacts, your games, your activity, your social media accounts, your secrets, every keystroke, every mouse click, every message, everything about you logged in Discord servers. Which when you think about it is pretty wild, because even Facebook, a company whose CEO calls its users dumb is more private than Discord. Because Facebook, like most social media, is end-to-end encrypted, meaning that your private messages can't be accessed by anyone else. However, on Discord, a private message to your friend is never actually private. According to the Mozilla Foundation, Discord doesn't have end-to-end encryption like other messenger apps, such as WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. So then Discord's not only storing data on everything you type, every game you play, and every thought you have, but Discord is now also vulnerable to hackers stealing this data because of its weak encryption. Just one breach in Discord servers means hundreds of millions of people's personal information is now public to the world. And since Discord's owner Jason has a past fraught with lawsuits and controversy for his handling of personal data, it's not hard to see where Discord's true value lies. And this is where things take a very sinister turn. So as we made clear, Discord isn't profitable, and unlike every other social media site, Discord is rejecting lucrative acquisition offers from major tech giants, which is a very risky move considering that Discord has no long-term plan and offers little room for progress or even
Hey Yummy, welcome. How are you?
Profit. And yet, Tencent continues to invest in Discord, taking an active interest in trying to acquire the company fully. So why is Tencent so obsessed with Discord?
The thing is, like, I don't think Tencent gives a shit about spending $1 billion on a company that doesn't make profit. So that fact alone, like, even if you would see this like without the whole, I mean, we're borderlining a conspiracy theory here. But let's say all this is true. Tencent is a company that values market share. Discord tinfoil. I mean, it's kind of tinfoil, but kind of not. So there is an actual problem here. Definitely. Tencent doesn't give a shit about losing $1 billion. They are a $1 trillion company. They own like half of the media, right? So the fact that Discord is gaining more and more users is more valuable to them in a long-term monetization scheme, and especially if you like put that on the Chinese market and everyone gets Nitro, like chances are you'll make a lot of money with that app by just the users alone. Like start to show one ad to Discord users a day, and you'll have like a shit ton of money. So this could just be smart investing. I find it like slightly unlikely, all this.
Well, by now it should be pretty clear. Tencent isn't risking hundreds of millions to connect people together and make the world a better place for free. Tencent is doing this to buy Discord's user data.
27th of March, they changed policy on record voice calls, video calls, and store them. Really? Okay, now that's getting like even more suspicious. with the video that we just watched. Like, Discord is owned by 40% by Tencent. And Tencent has to share all the data with the Chinese government. And, well, that's becoming problematic then.
Because Tencent is in the surveillance business. It is the biggest communist-run global surveillance system in living history, and the more data Tencent acquires, the more powerful Tencent becomes. This is Tencent's business model, and when Tencent's power increases, so does the CCP's. You see, Tencent could try to make its own social media sites in the West, but instead it's far more easy to get millions of users by investing in the fastest growing social media companies with the largest user base. So of course Tencent has been leeching onto Discord's success, because the more data points they have, they can then combine this with all their other 600 investments to get an even clearer profile of the global population, making it easier to not only sell you things, but also to progress the CCP's 2049 ambition. Now it might sound like I'm getting a little carried away here. I mean, Discord's just a messenger app. What does any of this have to do with the CCP's 2049 ambitions? There's nothing to worry about, right? Chinese intelligence agencies have a long history of hacking data from foreign companies. As far back as 2000, according to Steve Ryan, the former deputy director of the NSA, US officials have observed Chinese cyber operations aimed at piercing US defense contractors, something that was occurring on a quote regular basis by around 2006 onwards. The Chinese were robbing the defense industrial base blind. These cyber incursions became a regular practice, with Chinese state hackers successfully compromising the Pentagon 20 times in a single year. And in 2018, Chinese operatives successfully hacked a US Navy contractor, stealing highly sensitive information related to the development of submarine missiles. And now in the 2020s, US security
Thing is, even if you were to say like stop Discord right now, they still have all your data. And on top of that, you leaving the app doesn't do shit. It doesn't mud the picture at all. It doesn't do anything. It's a drop on a hot stone. It's gone. It's somewhat pointless.
Officials are deeply worried since privately owned Chinese companies are now acting as the tendrils of the Chinese government. It was for this reason that Tencent's WeChat app was recently banned in the US, and TikTok is getting banned in countries all around the world, and was almost actually banned by Trump. But by this point, it's too late. This can't be contained. Tencent is now invested in the biggest social media companies in the US. Companies like Reddit and Snapchat, and also some of the biggest social games like League of Legends and Fortnite, with all of these apps and games happening to be free to use, all because it's their vast user base that grants immense value to Tencent and the CCP. This is
just shut down Tencent, you can't. You're still using it on the other hand, does, especially as an influencer? Nah, I don't think so, honestly. I think it's a drop on a hot stone, it just doesn't matter. Like, what did they say? Discord having 250 million users or something? Even if I got everyone on my Discord to use a different app and go back to TeamSpeak and IRC, that would not even be 0.01% of users. It's absolutely pointless. And unfortunately, we can't shut down Tencent.
Isn't a normal money game, which is why Tencent's most lucrative investment is with Discord, an app that will soon be competing with WhatsApp Scale, all while being unencrypted and compromised by Tencent's data harvesting. Now, some of you might think that this sounds like just some stupid online conspiracy, but I promise you, it's really anything but. In recent years, China has been mining Western data to equip its government agencies with more leverage over the world. The Washington Post of all media companies actually reviewed bidding documents.
I like Discord. I like Discord from minute one, to be honest. I was like one of the early adopters. I started using Discord in 2015. And I liked it from the get-go. I also used it from the get-go. I found it a lot more convenient than like all the other options.
And contracts for over 300 Chinese government projects since 2020, and they found orders for software designed to collect data on foreign targets from Western social media. The documents, publicly accessible through domestic government bidding platforms, also show that agencies include the state media, propaganda departments, police, military, and cyber regulators are all invested in more sophisticated systems to gather data for the CCP. Quote, "Now we have a better understanding of the anti-China underground network," said a Beijing-based analyst who works for China's Central Propaganda propaganda department. And all of this global surveillance is part of Beijing's larger push to use big data and artificial intelligence to improve its international propaganda efforts, whilst also building a network of early warning systems that sound real-time alerts when trends threaten Beijing's interests. So why is China doing this? Well, Michael Pillsbury presented a lot of data in the 100-year marathon to argue that Chinese leadership has a systematic strategy to overtake the US as the world's dominating power, and they hope to complete this project by 2049. This is China's 2049 plan. It is of paramount importance to Xi Jinping, as this is the 100-year anniversary of China's communist revolution. This is deeply embedded within the Chinese government. For more than 50 years, this message has been thoroughly documented in Chinese literature and is a central part of China's education system and their People's Liberation Army. There is absolutely no doubt that Chinese leader Xi Jinping is dead set on ruling the rest of the world. In fact, these are his own words. This is his guiding message to party members and the public. And this really shouldn't be a surprise. Grand visions of world dominance have always been a component of communist beliefs, and Xi Jinping sees himself as the one who will fulfill China's destiny, all while the West completely ignored this for decades. We just thought of China as the place that makes our iPhones, and China played along with this, convincing Western politicians and business elites that China was moving towards democracy and capitalism. In reality, we funded China's rise. We fueled their ambition to take over the world. I mean, it's so common now for Western companies to voluntarily give away trade secrets in the hope of gaining access to China's massive market. And by doing this, companies always have to toe the party line. And we're talking about the huge companies that influence trends in Western society. Disney, the NBA, Nike, Apple all caved to the whims of the CCP. And this whole process isn't an accident, but rather part of China's long-term strategy. A long-term strategy to influence global events.
So, if like half the big companies already has sold to China, like the fuck am I supposed to do about it? Do you really think deleting Discord does anything? I'm sorry, it doesn't. You feel like a little bit, like a tiny bit good in your little activist soul and that's it. You won't save the world. It's bound to crash and burn. Ideally, you get a good seat for that. At this pace, it's almost believable that the Great Reset is an actual thing. Stop watching Mona for the thousands of times with your buddies on Discord. Moana? What's that? I've always said we're too deep in other people's shit, so I don't even care anymore. That's where I'm at right now, too. I don't... That's a Disney movie. Okay, never heard of it. I'm not a Disney person. Like, literally. You might feel good about that for a moment, and then you delete League of Legends, and you delete the Riot client, and then you delete Epic, and you never buy a Nike product anymore, and all that doesn't matter. You're doing your part, not a Disney person, now you can feel good. Really doesn't matter if we boycott Stop. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's pointless. I'm still not buying Nestle stuff. Yeah, me neither. But why am I doing that? Because it's easy enough to do. I think Nestle is a shit company, and I'm trying to boycott them. And why do I do it? Because it's easy. I would like bet that the next company is as shit as Nestle, but Nestle just has like the worst reputation of them all. I don't think we have stopped using Bayer products because they bought Monsanto, which is another shit company. If they got like the cheapest painkillers, we'll buy them. The thought process is why it's pointless. Yeah, you can say that. It's like the old argument. If everyone would do it, and you're start of the problem because you're not doing it. I doubt it. I literally doubt it. Essentially, yes, but in reality, it doesn't matter. And the only way to change Discord's, power over the market is to make a better app. Like, this is something that Asmongold has been saying like a million times too. And I agree with him. The only way to make people use something else is to make a better thing. Make an alternative, make it better. And in my opinion, like, probably the Western market should have like a big interest in that. And as long as China is giving them like access to their market and they take all the dollars, they don't give a shit. Well, we are kind of in a capitalist loophole here. Because the next popular thing will be bought by Tencent as well. Because they have the money. And honestly, if someone would offer me $100 million to sell my soul, well, chances are I might consider that. If they offer me $500 million, chances are I'll take it. I'm sure there are alternatives, but no one even looks at it. I mean, of course, we have Microsoft Teams. Because Moana was an Italian porn star, so the movie is called Vaiana. I've also never heard of Vaiana.
for a profit, using enormous amounts of data and cutthroat business practices to dominate the West. And these effective and downright ruthless actions taken by the CCP aren't being used against China. In fact, the whole Chinese government is set up in this authoritarian capitalist model to succeed where the West fails. They have Orwellian strength and the money to fund it, which is why every major Western social media site is blocked in China. Not to mention all the addictive social games like Fortnite being banished from the country, because by doing this, China stops the West gaining any data on the Chinese population. They understand how powerful it is to harvest all of this data. There is nothing the US or Europe can do to gain any tiny fraction of China's data on us. Tencent and ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, now control all millennials and Zoomers' entire virtual lives. We've been beaten in a fight we didn't even know existed. And in the news, we always see Facebook, Twitter, and Amazon being questioned for their data handling. But the news, commentators, and media flat out ignores the widespread data harvest performed by the CCP, or more officially Tencent and ByteDance. So then it all comes back to the point, is Discord really free? I mean, Discord provides great value to its users, but the true value of Discord is to its majority shareholder Tencent. And as Discord comes to rival WhatsApp in the messaging industry, huge chunks of the world's data will always be under the watchful eye of the CCP, which is what made January 6th so scary, because as I mentioned at the start, Discord was revealed to be the main social media platform behind these riots. This was evidenced by the insurrection being planned on Discord for weeks. 18 publicly accessible Discord servers showed how planned the attempted coup on January 6th was.
But this is like a dumb argument. They used an app. Of course. If Discord wasn't a thing, they would have used, I don't know, Telegram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, whatever like people use. It's like, it's no matter.
It's revealed that over 2 million Discord messages were behind this insurrection. Messages that connected supporters together, with all of them sharing the desires to see violence take place and sometimes bragging about their adventures during the storming of the Capitol grounds. Now obviously I'm not saying that Discord is directly responsible for these riots, and while the riots were concerning and said a lot about how divided we've become, there's something way more disturbing about these riots, which is that all this data collected in the build-up to the riots was stored in Discord servers the entire time. Remember, this isn't just simple encrypted user data like you'd find on WhatsApp. No, we're talking about every message, every game, your location, browsing history, everything. With all of this stored, monitored, and analyzed by the Chinese government. The implications of this are enormous, because as Tencent is legally required to send all this data back to the Chinese government while keeping it a secret, it means that the Chinese government very likely knew about the January 6 riots. They had all the information in advance, and might very well have used it to its advantage. And this is just one event of many. I mean, have you ever wondered how in the last year or so, China always seems to be positioned perfectly in every major event? The January 6 protests, the Ukraine war, the political division spreading across the world, inflation, the rise of TikTok, it's becoming very, very clear how much leverage China has over everyone. And this is what's so scary about Discord. Discord is a great app. It provides immense value, and it doesn't really make any money, but its growth is exponential. And just by judging how useful this app will be in the future, it's only a matter of time for Discord to rival WhatsApp, because no app competes with Discord's utility, which is the perfect news for Tencent. This gives Tencent access to untold millions data, allowing China to predict events, riots, general instability, and the attitudes of entire...
Like, I was with this video for a long time. Hi Spectral, welcome. I was with the video for a long time, but now we're getting kind of out of hand here. Yeah, the Chinese government knew about it. Okay, let's say they actually knew about it. Let's say they actually went through the chat logs of a random-ass Discord server down like in 200 billion messages, and they knew about these riots. So now what? How are they responsible because they knew?
Countries and their worldviews. By understanding entire populations, China can use this to always position itself perfectly, always using this data for its advantage. So as Discord grows, so does China's control of the global population. Because if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. We're living in a time of incredible opportunity.
What if I'm telling you that I'm paying for Discord? I am a Nitro user, so I'm not the product. There we go, problem solved. Tencent's literally trying to make money, being like, oh damn, look how we can do with these League of Legends player datas. Yeah, they're learning all the American insults. You have to think about information credibility as well. Surely there's more messages about potential riots, crime, illicit activity, but China won't know what's going on, what's going to come to fruition or not. Even why would they care?
opportunity, especially when it comes to growing your money. And a large part of that opportunity is in the global fintech market. It's anticipated to grow by 20% over the next 4 years, eclipsing a value of $305 billion, which is perfect timing because with the unprecedented volatility and high inflation rates, JP Morgan recently stated that alternatives are no longer optional. And to meet this increased demand for alternatives, these fintech platforms are stepping up, giving people access to investments they would have only dreamed of in the past. And one of my favorites offers a unique asset that's been long celebrated as a way to store.
Okay, this is advertisement now. Okay, well, we're going to stop here. Then you're a stupid product? Maybe I am.